It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming for Thursday, June 20th. I'm Wendy Corr, bringing you headlines from the Cowboy State Daily newsroom, presented by Cheyenne Frontier Days. Starting July 19th from sun up to sundown, there's something for everyone. Check it out at cfdrodeo.com. A tourist at Yellowstone's Lower Falls risked his life on Wednesday by climbing out to a dangerous section of rocks above the raging 308-foot waterfall. Photos of a man who climbed out onto an outcropping overlooking the raging waterfall puts into focus the heights, literally, some tourists will go to when breaking the rules, according to Cowboy State Daily's Andrew Rossi.
I have never had a more visceral reaction to photos than the ones that I saw. It was a man who had climbed down to the brink of the lower falls. So there's this narrow, jagged precipice of rock, and he's there crawling away after getting down there, and just feet away from him is the brink of the lower falls. So the white sheet of water, which I checked, the National Park Service says at peak volume, which I'd imagine we're close to, if not there right now, 60,000 gallons of water per second, 308-foot drop, and he was within a few feet of that.
No climbing is permitted in the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone, but even for a tourism season already predicted to see more bad tourist behavior, the recklessness on display in the photos is almost too much for even seasoned Turon watchers. Casper's police chief is urging Wyoming lawmakers to craft criminal penalties against squatting. Now at least 2 bill drafts are in the works. The issue of squatting is gaining attention and prevalence in national media and has reached Wyoming and now costs property owners collectively millions of dollars, according to Crime and Courts reporter Claire McFarland.
The squatters are creating crime hubs in the houses they're unlawfully occupying. There's all sorts of nefarious things that go on in there. Sometimes the city has to condemn buildings when the homeowners just give up on ever getting their property back. And sometimes people who go to places like Arizona for the winter will come home and everything's a disaster and they have to stay in a hotel for months while they sort out eviction processes, basically.
The chief pointed out that vacant businesses, homes caught in the probate system, absentee homes, homes in foreclosure, and other processes all can be victimized by squatters. Wyoming and Utah have become the first states to challenge in federal court an obscure rule touted by the Bureau of Land Management that marks a major shift in how 245 million acres of public lands are managed in the United States. The rule was designed by BLM to strike a balance between conservation and extractive mining for natural resources. However, energy reporter Pat Mayo points out that the rule effectively gives the BLM power to kill off mining projects before they even get off the drawing board.
It's called the Public Lands Rule, and it relates to trying to find a better balance between conservation on one end and mining on the other. Gordon is arguing, or at least his statements are pointing out that the rule has gone too far in that it avoids a federal law that's supposed to allow states like Wyoming to be able to, you can't tell a state you can't mine on public lands, which is kind of essentially what's happening here.
The two states announced Wednesday that they have jointly filed a lawsuit in the U.S. District Court for the District of Utah in Salt Lake City, challenging the BLM's final public lands rule, which was announced April 18th. I'll be back in just 15 seconds with more news.
In southwest Wyoming, wide open space is waiting. This is how we explore it. In Rock Springs and Green River, Wyoming. Plan your adventure at explorewy.com.
The attorney for a Natrona County ranch and family is pleading with the Natrona County Commission to resolve growing problems with people trespassing, littering, and damaging their private property that's accessed by an alleged county road that comes off the south side of Casper Mountain. In turn, commissioners have sued the family to stop them from carrying through with the threat to close off the road, according to Cowboy State Daily's Dale Killingbeck.
That's a key road for construction projects right now for the county. And according to the lawsuit from the county, provides fire evacuation route for our residents in Casper Mountain. So the county is looking for an injunction from the judge.
As of Wednesday, the family and company stated in a letter that only first responders and those who obtain prior written permission will be able to use the road. State Senator Cale Case of Lander wanted to make a point Wednesday morning at the Capitol Rotunda that he believes former Wyoming U.S. Senator Lester Hunt's death by suicide decades ago and many suicides today may have been preventable. Cowboy State Daily's Leo Wolfson reports that Wednesday was the 70th anniversary of Hunt's death, something Case doesn't believe has been properly publicized because of the stigma around suicide.
So Hunt was being targeted by Senator Joe McCarthy right around the time that he committed suicide. It's basically been proven that was one of the driving reasons he did it. Case said there's a lot of incivility in politics right now, and he said there's streaks of McCarthyism that he sees in Wyoming politics.
Hunt's portrait is permanently displayed in the basement of the Capitol near the governor's offices. During Wednesday's event, the painting was brought up to the rotunda on the main floor of the building, which Case said was an act symbolically returning Hunt's spirit to the Capitol. And a Gillette man remains in jail after pleading guilty to DUI, reckless driving, and driving while under suspension after speeding through downtown Gillette Sunday night and rolling his Porsche. 39-year-old Dustin Ostert was caught while trying to flee on foot after wrecking the vehicle, but it was a pair of tenacious bystanders who saved the day, according to Cowboy State Daily's Jen Coker.
The unsung heroes in this story are the couple who followed Dustin Ostert through downtown. Not only did they call it in, but they actually followed him. They were on site also when he crashed. When he crashed and he hit a guardrail and his car flipped 3 to 4 times and skid about 350 feet, which the car experts I spoke to said that as far as crashes go, that's huge. And he's so lucky to be alive.
This was Ostert's third DUI in less than 4 years, following earlier convictions in June 2020 and July 2023, for which he was still on both supervised and unsupervised probation. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting the daily newsletter button on cowboystatedaily.com. And you can watch this newscast every day by clicking subscribe on our YouTube channel. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily.